Aloha. Welcome to Kupuna Wisdom. I'm Amora St. John, and my guest today is the one and only Prema Dasara, who is the creator of the Tara dance, founder of Tara Datu.
Tara
Datu. She's a longtime resident of Hawaii and an extraordinary teacher, a storyteller, and just one of the best Kupunas I know. Kupuna of the highest order, I like to say.
Oh my. Well, I'm honored to be here.
Well, thank you for being part of the show.
So what would you like to talk about?
Well, the first thing I want to ask you, I've heard you said this before, that you literally danced your way out of your mother's womb.
Yes.
Because it's the Tara dance is, I just want to say for our audience, is an extraordinary movement of mostly women to access the divine feminine through sacred song and dance. And this is what you've been doing for the last 30 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about dance. I mean, have you always been a dancer?
Yes. I started formal training when I was 3.
Uh-huh.
So this was ballet and conventional dancing in the 50s. And then I went on to modern dance, and then I left any established dance and I experienced dance on my own.
Uh-huh.
And I always had heard inside of myself, dance is for the dancer. So because in our culture, we were trained that dance was performance. The dance was something
Entertainment.
that it was entertainment, it was competitive. And so, but actually, my experience was that I didn't care whether anybody watched or not. It was nice if I had some feedback. But what I really loved was the feeling in my body and the relationship that would occur if I danced in nature or wherever, whatever the situation was.
Yeah.
The dance was actually for my own awakening. And that was an experience I had very young.
Yeah.
So I was very disoriented as I approached different dance groups and different dance trainings, because it didn't answer that for me.
But I read that you loved Isadora Duncan, that she was
Absolutely.
one of your heroines.
She was my heroine
Yeah.
because she and several of her colleagues, Ruth St. Dennis and so forth, they made a statement about their own experience in dance and how dance was, in fact, a sacred event. And so even though that word, I had a little bit of caution about what sacred is.
Yeah.
But it was certainly a deep inner experience for me, and so I could relate to what they were attempting to do.
Beautiful.
I loved the fact that Ruth St. Dennis was using these various archetypes to demonstrate the power in the archetype. And even though I dropped dance for a while, but once I was in India and I saw that classical Indian dance, in fact, totally embraced exactly what I had felt inside.
Yeah.
So I realized I could receive training in this dance, because up until that point I had decided I didn't want any training. I was just going to do my own thing.
Your own thing. Now,
know,
did your
my own
parents dance?
expressions.
Did your mom dance? And
My parents are both Italian, and so they had a very wonderful, sensual relationship to the body and moving the body.
Right.
So they loved contemporary music. They loved to do contemporary dancing. So it was
so you
something
had it in your
that-
gene pool somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But don't you think all little girls love to dance? I mean, I remember taking ballet and tap and
I
and
think
wishing I
everybody
could-
loves to move their
I
body.
do too. And dance gives you permission
Yes.
to move your
well,
body.
You don't have to even put a title on it. You just have to move your body
Yeah.
and enjoy it and feel into your body. I often invite my students, feel into your body, and then what is your body asking? What kind of movement does it need
Nice.
in order to loosen up, to go deeper into its own sense of comfort, and then love your body. So
Yeah.
no matter what is going on, love your body. And with that kind of relationship, you can have very profound experiences with movement. But with the classical Indian dance, I discovered that one could bring together devotion and intellect along with movement. So this was revelatory for me.
Right.
In other words, we were telling a story with our bodies and with mudra.
Similar to
and
the hula in Hawaii.
Absolutely. In
is
fact, I know that there is a relationship you know,
There must be.
because the dance moved through Asia and it moved into the Pacific Islands
Uh-huh.
and it moved across Java.
Wow.
And so we find a lot of expression where the dances are very related in the sense that they're telling a story, but the story has to do with the upliftment of the community. So the dancer is a precious commodity of the community, just like a shaman.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
the dancer has a job, and the job is to inspire the community through the beauty of movement, the beauty of the human body, but the power of movement and sound.
Yes.
But also coupling this together with the essence of what the culture is about, the essence of what it is as a village
Yes.
that
But
we
so
are
it's-
trying to accomplish.
So you're actually teaching through the dance.
Absolutely.
It's a learning
Absolutely.
vehicle.
Yes.
Now, what
Yes.
got you into the whole path of the divine feminine, to use dance to actually emancipate the divine feminine?
Well, I didn't start out to do that. You
didn't.
know, that was no.
It just was
no,
a natural
but it's
follow-on.
certainly part of my essential nature is the relationship with the divine feminine. As a child, I was a Catholic,
Yeah, me too.
and so in Catholicism, you don't go direct to Jesus.
You go to
don't
Mother
go direct.
Mary.
There you go. And so, and I found her very responsive, in
Yes.
fact. And many of the female saints, very responsive. When you called out to them, when you appealed to them, there was some kind of energetic relationship. And the whole understanding of Divine Mother as being mercy and compassion was very exciting to me. The whole understanding of mercy and compassion was exciting to me.
Particularly when you learn about God as being the Godhead, the Father, the kind of the dominating force.
Yes, well, that didn't really
softness.
fly very well in my
Oh.
world. I
It
didn't
didn't
really
mine. It was like-
appreciate. I didn't appreciate it. I thought, why? You know, because of course part of it was my father was an Italian male, which meant patriarchal.
Exactly.
You know,
Mine
and
too.
so it didn't work for me. In fact,
Mhm.
I had to leave home because we would not have things would not have gone
You
well.
would not, no. You would
Yes.
not. You would not
So-
have been sanctioned by the Vatican at that point.
Not even close. No, no. So the relationship with Divine Mother, and then she started appearing in different religious groups. So I found her in Hinduism, and I
Kuan
found
Yin.
her in the Chinese Taoist philosophy, and then I found her in Buddhism. So to me, Divine Mother had many names,
Yeah.
but that essence of mercy and compassion was always there. And then there was also, I had a very strong relationship and engagement with Sophia and Gianna and
really?
the goddesses of
Wisdom, right?
yes, of Greece and Rome. So these were Western wisdom beings, archetypal beings that I could relate to. I was always in the forest somewhere. I was always in relationship with nature, and I had a great respect for wisdom, even though I didn't know what that meant,
Yeah.
and would often say, "I'm looking for wisdom." But if I was asked, "Well, what does that mean?" I didn't really have an answer for that. I just knew that it was something I wanted, and so
Exactly.
because of that, I was on a search for it. And anything that stimulated it within me, I sort of went in that direction.
Yeah.
So I engaged in different cultures and different experiences. As you were talking about my incredible bio, you know, I worked with the Scientologists for a while. I worked with the Theosophists.
Theosophists, yes.
Absolutely.
Bringing the world religions together.
Well, the Theosophy has, in fact, it's still alive, three main tenets that very much sit where I sit, which is, of course, they say the brotherhood of man, but, you know, I would say the universality of human beings, that we all are together in this.
Yes, exactly.
And then the second one is that all of our spiritual traditions have one esoteric source. So they're not different from each other. They've just moved into different cultural expressions. But at the heart,
It's
wisdom
the
is
same.
wisdom. you
It's the
know.
same.
So, and then finally, there's the understanding that within our humanity, we have exceptional capability. And so but we need to engage with this exceptional possibility. It doesn't just arise.
Right.
So it's
the
a
dance
cultivation.
engages you in a way that
Absolutely.
reading about it in a book would not do.
Well, specific kinds of dance. I mean, we can go and just sort of rock and roll and have a good time, and that's very helpful for the body. But we are talking body-mind now.
Right.
There are different aspects of consciousness. So now we are entering into a whole other realm
That's true.
of exploration.
Is it okay to call it a trance dance? Because when
No.
I've done it, it feels as if you get to a transcendental place,
Transcendental, yes.
but different than trance.
Trance, when we're talking about a trance, we're talking about losing consciousness of reality and entering into another reality. But we lose consciousness of this one. In Buddhist practice, the goal is to maintain consciousness throughout all the levels of capability.
And not
So-
to escape it or run from it or
Not to escape it, and
go
also
beyond it.
to see that our relationship with our body, in fact, is a wholesome relationship. It's not something to reject. It's not something to torture. Our natural impulses of food and sex are just that. They're
Yeah.
natural impulses, and we can use them to control and to manipulate, but we can also use them to engage in exalted experiences
Yes.
that allow us to awaken within different dimensions of consciousness. And this is the kind of training that I have discovered through these Tibetan Buddhist practices. Now, I discovered it in many other places. We all do. We have experiences, you know. One of my teachers, Taisita Rinpoche, when he was here on Maui, we had a young, one of our Maui family folk, said to him, "Well, Rinpoche, what about surfing? You know, I think I can get enlightened as a surfer, you know. What do you think about that?"
Yeah.
And so Situ said, "Well, that's very interesting. Yes, I suppose that's
possible.
possible, right?" And so then he said, "Well, can you teach me how to do that?" And he said, "Well, I don't have that transmission. That's the tools that I have no experience with this. So I can't really help you. I can't help you. I can give you insight into what my way is, and then you see if there's a way that you can make use of it in this particular..."
He couldn't contact his inner surfer.
Yeah, well, you know, Tibet.
Yeah,
I mean,
Tibet. It's true.
So-
It's true.
But it was helpful for all of us to recognize, you know, sometimes these great beings come to us and they're carrying these wonderful, inspiring traditions. And so we get all excited about this, but then we forget, okay, it's a whole cultural thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean absolute truth. It's relative truth. Now, it may lead us into profound experiences, but it's not necessarily, you have a guest.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh,
He lives here.
oh, okay. Very
So,
good.
so Prema, did you say that? Did you go out to start a worldwide dance movement?
Oh, no, not at
Because
all.
what has happened is that there are people all over the world dance Tara.
Yes, that's correct.
And was that part of your kuleana, as we say in Hawaii?
Well, it's part of my kuleana. When you think about kuleana, what that means is your personal responsibility.
Right.
What makes your
So
life
you took it
pono
on.
responsible.
Well, as your
it
path,
appeared
right?
before me. From the time I was very small, I knew that I had some gift. And I knew that this gift had to do with wisdom. But I didn't know what shape it was going to take. I would just know, I would know it when I see it.
Yeah.
So that was where Mary, wisdom, compassion, mercy, okay, there it is. And Sophia, wisdom, there it is. Saraswati, creativity, there it is.
Yeah.
And so wherever I found the inspiration, because in my makeup, I have a lot of magnetism. And so from very small, throughout my life, I attract people.
Yeah.
And so I recognized rather quickly that there was a responsibility in this, that I needed to inspire them.
It was very wise of you at an early age to know that. I mean, magnetism can take you down a different path,
Absolutely.
too, into Hollywood or something.
Absolutely.
So,
and that was part of my own sort of maneuvering
Yeah.
to see how I moved into that direction several times. and found it very unfruitful and
Mhm,
unsatisfying.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so, when you feel the real thing, when you integrate the different dimensions of consciousness, when you are completely present in the moment and open, it's a magical universe we inhabit, and there are
Yeah.
so many possibilities.
Yeah.
It's so profound.
Yes.
So, and it speaks to us when I'm giving a talk
Mhm.
and I look out at the group, I can immediately see when the auras start to expand. And what's happening is that I'm talking directly to the heart of my friends.
Yes.
I always think of whoever it is that's listening to me as my friends, and stimulating something in them that says, aha. And that
Mhm.
leads them deeper into who they are.
Mhm.
It's not something that I'm imposing upon them. I'm not giving them anything. I'm stimulating something inside
That's
of them
true.
so they can have an experience.
Yeah.
And with that experience, then the world becomes a bigger place.
Exactly.
And as it expands, you recognize there are different ways of perception, different modes of perception, different ways of engagement.
Mhm.
And this is very exciting. It's very exciting and very liberating.
Very.
So I watch people just, I watch them wake up.
Can you,
it's
can
very
you see auras? Because I know that they're sort
well,
of golden,
yeah,
white.
I know I said that because I don't know what other word to use.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say that I'm, a
An energy
color
reader
person. I
or-
just, I do read energy,
You do.
but we all do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just because of the training I've had and because of these practices, my ability to be sensitive, to be empathetic, has expanded.
Uh-huh.
This is the whole idea. That third thing I was talking about is what's inherent in our humanity. What are the extraordinary possibilities of our humanity? And how do we cultivate that?
Mhm.
Because it is something that, first of all, we have to recognize it's possible, and then we have to engage in whatever it takes to make it happen within our own continuum.
Yes.
And there are these tremendously wonderful traditions that if you follow them methodically and you understand how the relationship of the energy movement in the body-mind, you start learning how to cultivate this.
And I think we should say for our viewers too that the Tara dance is filled with mudras, beautiful expressions that you use your arms and hands and fingers and body for.
Yes.
So give us just a little example so that we can understand what. I know we can't get up here and dance, but
Yes.
just an example of a mudra that would demonstrate the 21 qualities of the goddess, for example.
Yes, okay. For instance, Tara herself, if you see the standard pictures of Tara, her hands hold two very specific mudras. Her right hand is extended out. And when the palm is pointed down and out, fingertips down, palm out, this means generosity. And you see this mudra in Lakshmi, you see it in Mary also, right? Both hands out, meaning infinite generosity. So then when the thumb and forefinger are placed together, this means the perfection of generosity.
Ah, nice.
So when we engage in the dance of the praises, this is one of the mudras that we assume before we enter into the praises, to say, I have let go of everything that holds me back, and I reveal myself as the most infinite generous. I offer this dance as an act of generosity to inspire humanity.
Yeah.
So that's that mudra. Then this mudra, this is the protection mudra. It actually, there are many ways that we can use, it's called pataka in classical Indian dance. But for our purposes, this is protection. When we take the ring finger, touch it with the thumb, it means this protection, I am a source of refuge, and that is protection. So these are the mudras that you see with Tara. Now, mudra it actually literally means gestures, so it's not only hands. So we have body mudra. Now Tara, part of her body mudra is her head is tilted slightly to the right.
That's the right.
Yes, slightly to the right. Now we have 3 energy channels running through the center of the body. And by tilting the head slightly to the right, we're stimulating the anger and hatred. We're saying, I have mastered that. I have mastered that. In the same way, her legs, one leg, her right leg is extended outward, This means she's ready to move swiftly, but by her left leg pulling in, it means she's mastered the power of desire. So that desire is not seen as something negative, but it's a raw power, like fire is a raw power. So how are we going to use this desire? How are we going to use it to bring about a state of awakening and to open up these psychic centers that allow us to engage in life in a way that we can bring benefit to everyone we meet, that we can inspire them and help them wake up.
Yes, and I think we should say that you have gorgeous recorded music with a lot of Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, but I try to have everything translated into the colloquial language.
Pretty much so.
When we dance here in America, we dance in English. When we dance in Brazil, we dance in Portuguese. And then we also have dancers in Chile and Argentina, and so they dance in Spanish. We have dancers in Japan, and they have translated many of the practices into Japanese. So whenever we go into another culture, we try as much as possible so that I try to keep the music the same. So for instance, if you were
the same, but the words
in a different language.
In a different language.
So if you had been dancing with me, let's say for 10 years, so you really know the you know the words,
And
you
the
know what
mudras.
we're doing, and the mudras and everything, and then you came with me to Brazil. You don't have to know a word of Portuguese to be able to dance with them.
That's nice. I love that. And you're going to Kauai soon. So
Going to Kauai.
What brought you to Hawaii? Did you feel that this was your
husband
true
number 3?
home? Oh, husband number 3.
Yes, husband number 3. I met him in India, and he had this remote little shack up the volcano.
Is
in
he an
Maui.
Indian man?
No, not.
Okay.
No. He was part of the Maui family. Just another funky hippie guy.
Yeah.
And so we, set up there, off the grid, and so forth. And I'm still up there.
Yeah. I heard from someone, an authority, spiritual authority, that Hawaii itself has the highest vibration of any place that you could find on the planet. The frequency is higher than any other place that you could choose. Now, do you think that's true?
Oh, goodness. Well, I think that's one of those competitive comparisons that I would never get involved in. It's sort of like when you arrive in Austin and it says, Austin is the music capital of the world. Okay. So what does that mean? To Austonians, it means that music is the thing that's happening. But, what would they think about this in, say, Berlin or...
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but
yes,
it's the
the
aloha
vibration
spirit here
is as high as the people that you encounter, and you can encounter everything
That's
here.
true. You can.
We've got meth heads who are robbing people, and we have more exalted spiritual beings. The nature in Maui, the nature of the islands is exceptional.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, the weather is exceptional.
Exactly.
Although everything is changing now, so we don't know what this is going to be like. But the planet is so beautiful. There's so much beauty.
Yeah.
And, really.
Yeah.
So
where are we heading as a human family, though, Prema? Because there's just so much discord, and the wars are still going on in this beautiful land, and people are being run by their digital screens, more than ever before. And it feels like we've kind of lost touch with one another. I think that's why the dance is so important.
I don't agree with that at all.
I mean, if you dance Tara, you're in touch with...
Yes, but even, if you look at what they're doing with their little digital devices, mostly they're communicating with each other. And it doesn't matter how banal the communication is. The fact is that they're reaching out and touching each other.
Yeah.
So I find that to be a very positive.
No,
So what does it matter?
Well,
This is an instrument too. I love all of the emails that I get from all over the world. I love being able to keep in touch with my
at the press of
universal family.
Yeah.
I could not do that without the internet. So especially living in the middle of nowhere, I see very few people up there, but I'm in contact with the world, and I truly appreciate it. I love being able to watch the DNC on...
It's true.
It's amazing.
It's true.
Fantastic. I consider this... I think the internet has been a tremendous blessing.
Well, thank you for giving me that new spin. Because I've been, you go home to visit the grandkids, and you're lucky if you get 5 minutes of, eye time, FaceTime.
Well, you got to make an effort.
You do.
Definitely. I know I visited with her friend's son who is in college, and I just had to say, I have no interest in being with you if that's what's going to go on. And that's really okay. If you have something else to do, please go do it.
Right. And then come back to me and let's have a
yes,
talk.
if you want to have it, if you want to, yeah, you know. Then,
Uh-huh.
so you've got to make it interesting for them.
You do. That's the challenge,
But
isn't it?
yes, it's the challenge with everybody, though. I mean, you can have a conversation and watch people just zone out, you know.
Totally. So just going back to the DNC, because we were talking before the show
Yeah.
about Hillary Clinton,
Yeah.
and I know this show will be evergreen. People will be listening to this years from now. But how do you feel about having a woman president? I mean, given the idea of the divine feminine.
Of course, it's wonderful. I mean, it's wonderful because the world has a problem when the male-female isn't balanced. And so I'll tell you a story, since you like stories, yes? Okay, this is one of my favorite stories. We were in the south of Brazil, and one of the indigenous shamans requested to meet us and to share dance and story with us. And so I was, of course, happy about this, yes. And so he told this story about how when he was a young boy, he was very attracted to the squiggles they would see on this on what looked like a leaf on a tree. Well, actually, it was posters, you know, with writing. But he was very attracted to this, and so his the page, or the head guy of his village, said, "You have something that you need to do, you know, here on this planet. You need to go into the mouth of the jaguar, and you need to learn what this means, these squiggles." So this young child went to school, and he learned how to read and write and so forth. He learned all of the traditional sort of education of the conquerors, you would say, conquistadores, as they refer to them still. And so he came back to his tribe, you know, and said, "I did this," you know, and he said, "Okay, so now you have to go into the mouth of the jaguar and you have to tell the conquistadores that they are forgiven." So this little skinny, scrawny Indian guy, you know,
what is that? Like he didn't even know, right?
So he goes into Sao Paulo, because their village was just outside of Sao Paulo. Now, Sao Paulo is the second largest city in the world, 26 million people.
Wow.
So this skinny little Indian guy, you know, and he just tells whoever he meets, you know, he meets them on the bus, he meets them on the street, he meets them whoever he meets, he tells them, "My page told me I had to tell you that you're forgiven."
Wow.
So, and this, of course, started all kinds of fascinating dialogue.
Yeah, totally.
So he comes
beautiful.
back, you know, with all of these stories. He's still very confused, though. You know, I mean, what is this? And so, and the page said, "Okay, now I'll tell you, because you are going to write a book, and you needed those stories because we need to make this interesting."
For the
And
content,
he said, "The reason we tell them they are forgiven is they would never have been able to conquer us if we had not nurtured a crack in the world. And the reason we had that crack in the world is because the divine feminine was not honored. So it was not their fault."
Wow. So you're forgiven.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
But think about that, you know. I mean, this was so profound to me, because there are many stories throughout the cultures of the world where there's this recognition that the divine feminine is not honored. And you can see how the cultures, you know, I have no interest in going into any indigenous culture myself, because there's not enough honor for the female. If we see that there is an equal honor for the male and the female, that's interesting.
Now, how many men are drawn to this?
Actually, not a lot, but there are men that really appreciate what it is that we're doing. First of all, within Tibetan Buddhist practice, the manifesting as a deity, which is the main activity that we're doing through meditation, and using the power of manifesting as a deity and concentrating on that, your energy body can be whatever gender you want it to be.
Exactly.
It doesn't really depend on what your physical body is. And so the transmission that I received about the great goddess Tara in the context of Tibetan Buddhism was mostly from men. I had 2 female teachers, but I had many, many male teachers who gave transmission. And the empowerment, when a Tibetan Lama gives an empowerment, what he's doing is he's magnetizing his own body through his awareness and manifesting it as the deity itself.
Huh.
So if you have eyes to see and you are receiving a Tara empowerment, it doesn't matter what gender the Lama is, you're going to see Tara, and she's a female.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But wouldn't you think it would be a good idea if we focused more on bringing this to the men, the male dominator model, so that we could start to shift things in this culture that are driven by violence and gun violence and all that comes with it? That it would be a good use of the divine feminine to go into these communities of men and awaken their hearts.
I think that when we perform the dance, we perform as Tara. She made a vow that she would remain in the body of a woman until the end of time.
Uh-huh.
And so for that reason, and the reason she gave that is she said, during this time, there are many examples of awakened beings. There are many examples being male, but very few being female.
Wow.
And so women need to know that it's possible for them to manifest enlightened mind. They need these examples.
Yeah, yeah.
So even though Hillary has broken through one glass ceiling, that doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of glass ceilings still in
Totally.
place.
Totally.
I mean, we still don't have equal pay. Men are still paid more than women are. So there's still, and there are many cultures on this planet right now where the feminine does not have any say at all.
Oh, absolutely.
So in this way, as a planet, as a village, as a planetary village, we all need to still address this imbalance.
Yeah.
So, and the men need to, if they're going to engage, they need to be able to engage with it in a way that is non-threatening. So I'll tell you another story.
Okay.
This was in Seattle, and it was one of the first Tara dances that I led outside of the islands.
Uh-huh.
And so these, there were 14 women, and the audience was made up of all of their good buddies, right? So it was men and women, and it was just a very mixed audience. And when we finished the dance, I was quite astonished to see that people were crying. Of course, this isn't unusual. But a lot of the people who were in the audience were what I would call, sort of these big guys, football guys, big, or just man-mans,
Lots of testosterone.
man-mans,
Yeah.
And they were crying.
Wow.
So I thought, that's really interesting. And one of these, and the young, they were all young. We were pretty young then anyway. This was, 25 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And so one of these young men insisted on talking with me. So I said, okay, I don't have time, but you can drive me to the airport. So we're driving along, and he said, I know those women. I know all of those women who were dancing. And he said, I have never seen them in their power before.
Oh, wow.
And he said, I realized that whenever a woman came close to me and demonstrated her power, I felt I needed to control her. So it was the first time I could allow women to be powerful and not feel that I needed to control them.
Wow, that's big.
So I could experience the beauty within the power of the feminine.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a very interesting piece to me.
It's shown a new light on the men's receptivity to all of this.
Exactly,
So
and
good.
that the dance itself stimulates something in the men that's very wholesome.
Beautiful.
Because it's not about one gender being better than the other, no matter how many jokes we make about it. It's about, well, okay, here's another story. In the story of Tara, when the way she appeared in our world system, Amitabha Buddha, who is the Buddha of infinite light, when he looked on our planet, he saw that there was so much suffering. And so a beam of light from his third eye touched the planet, and this beautiful young man appeared. He was known as Avalokiteshvara. In Tibetan, it's Chenrezi, Lord of the World. Omanipimihung, he went about teaching everybody the power of the mantra, O Mani Padme Hum. The jewel of compassion sits in the lotus of our wisdom. And so he liberated all the 6 realms of suffering, the realm of anger and hatred, greed, desire, etc., jealousy
Good.
and arrogance. He liberated everybody.
It's a good
And
thing.
he was very satisfied with this
Yeah.
activity. And so according to legend, he rested.
Uh-huh.
He took a nap. And when he woke up, all the realms of suffering were full again. And so he despaired. He thought, I can't do this. I can't do this. And according to legend, he wept. And he wept and he wept, and this huge pool formed of his tears. Out of the heart, out of the center of the pool, he started noticing there was some activity, and this lotus bud came up, and the lotus bud blossomed, and in the heart of the bud was Tara. And she said to him,
Nice.
I will be known as the swift protectress. I will ferry all across the ocean of suffering and establish them in an understanding of their true nature. So this is one of the most popular stories that the lamas tell about Tara. And it's so significant because it's, you know, we have these expectations that the guys are going to fix it all.
Yeah.
They can't fix it all. Without the divine feminine, nothing is going to happen. So we need both.
Yeah.
Both have to work together.
And she came up and dispelled.
Yeah,
the
well,
suffering.
and then she started dancing.
Yes.
According to
She
legend,
started dancing. That's
she started
interesting.
dancing. She went immediately down to the south of India. She took up residence in a sandalwood forest, and she surrounded herself with all of the wild animals, and she gave her first teaching, which was that she was a source of refuge and how to relate to the idea of refuge.
Yes, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish we had so much more time, and I know I'm just getting a signal from your assistant that you're off to do a Tara dance tonight here
Yes.
on Maui.
Yes.
Which is exciting. But I want our
Yes.
viewers to know how to find you if they want to experience Tara.
Yes.
Is that possible to get it from anybody but you?
World Wide Web, Taradatu, TARADHATU.org.
Okay.
Go to the website, and we have lists of circles all over the world. And come and dance with us on Kauai. We're going to have a fabulous
Yeah.
8-day retreat on the island of Kauai in almost here. I think it's the 13th of
Coming up.
August.
Yeah. And
But
then
we
you
do
go,
it every
you go to
year.
Brazil. You go to Brazil.
We go
every
to
year.
Brazil, and we do a 1-week retreat in Brazil. And next year we will be taking a group to Bali to learn how to dance in the masks.
Oh, I want to go there with you,
To
Prema.
Bali.
I've always wanted to
Yes,
go to Bali.
yes.
For me, that's the
Yeah.
heart of, again, the divine feminine, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, so many opportunities. And on Maui, if you come and visit, twice a month, on new moon and full moon, we gather at a friend's house. You have to get on our email list to know where we're gathering
Uh-huh.
and when. And
But there's
Yeah.
ways to reach you through your
absolutely.
website.
Go to the website, and all the information you need is there. Yeah.
Well, leave us with a little message from Tara herself
Yes.
in terms of Kupuna wisdom.
Yes.
What do you think at this moment in
Yes.
time is one
Okay.
of the wisest offerings that she could offer
Okay.
to this audience?
Each one of you is exceptional, extraordinary. Nobody can take your place. In the sacred fabric of life, you are unique. You possess everything you need within you. You just need to stimulate it. You have divine wisdom in your heart. When you touch into that, you experience the radiance of loving compassion. And when you engage with the world, engage with each other, blessing each other and empowering each other. This is why this is what we're doing as human beings on this planet. Know that you are protected, that there are sources of refuge that can uplift you and stimulate you, inspire you, and ultimately lead you on your path, guide you on your path, help you on your path to full awakening. I pray for all of us that we may so easily awaken.
Thank you for inspiring and awakening me today.
Yay!
Prema.
Yay!
Good. Aloha, everyone. Join us again for Kupuna Wisdom next time. Aloha.